On a distant, lonely planet named Lyra, the faint, blood-orange light of the mother star cast its glow over colossal, soft violet dunes. A whisper of wind drifted across the canyons, carrying a strange metallic tang mixed with the clean, sharp scent of ozone and an unfamiliar, earthy fragrance. Here, in the vast quiet, is where our journey begins. Ethan Keller, a young American deep space surveyor, slowly came to consciousness in his escape pod. His body was a dull ache, heavy with exhaustion, but his mind, thankfully, was beginning to piece together the silence. He was adrift, he was alone, and the emergency chronometer confirmed the shocking truth. He had been in stasis for 10 days, and conscious, fighting, for 5 more 15 days total since the Aurora 2 was lost. Before him, the main hatch offered a panoramic view of this surreal new world. Low, rolling hills of shimmering purple sand stretched to the horizon. Beneath the soft reddish gold starlight, strange crystalline rock formations glowed with a faint inner luminescence, pulsing slowly like sleepy jellyfish. And the sky was a deep, mesmerizing swirl of crimson and plum, stitched with glittering, distant nebulae that seemed close enough to touch. It was a place of impossible beauty, utterly alien, yet infused with a strange, profound peace. He recalled the disastrous landing, not a crash, but a catastrophic system failure that spun the Aurora 2 into the void. His immediate, instinctual ejection had saved him, but left him isolated. The hardest part, Ethan realized as he activated the pod's life support check, was the silence. It wasn't just the lack of human voices, it was the absence of familiar noise. No crickets, no rustling leaves, no distant traffic, just the soft, ceaseless sibilance of the Lyran wind. Days 1 to 3. Finding a rhythm. On day 1, Ethan's first steps onto the violet sand were tentative. He felt the fine, cool dust shift under the heavy boots of his survival suit. He quickly discovered the planet's first secret. The local, low-lying flora, resembling tangled mosses and broad, leathery pads, began to glow softly as the star dimmed. They were natural lanterns, casting gentle pools of pale green and blue light across the dunes. Driven by pure necessity, he carefully tasted a piece of the moss, analyzed first by his suit's scanner, of course. The taste was mildly bitter, but the scanner confirmed high nutrient density. He felt a small, steady wave of energy. That night, lying on the floor of the pod, he found comfort in the routine of recording his journal. His voice, initially tight with adrenaline, started to smooth out. He began talking about the sky, describing the way the largest nebula, a wash of emerald green and gold, seemed to hang just above the horizon, moving with unimaginably serene speed. Log entry 001, he recorded, his voice a low, steady murmur. The atmosphere is thin, breathable in the suit, but this world, it operates on a different clock. We were taught to fight the wilderness. Here, I think I just need to listen to it. Day 2 was about securing water. Ethan moved through a shallow canyon, his suit's sensors beeping faintly as they detected geothermal heat. Tucked beneath large formations of the softly glowing crystal rocks, he found them natural catchments where condensation pooled. The water was metallic, tasting slightly of sulfur, but pure. He spent hours carefully filtering it, watching the process with a focus that pushed the anxiety away. Survival, he realized, was simply a series of small, manageable tasks. That evening, he discovered the stone's heat. These crystalline structures weren't just decorative. They retained warmth from the solar day, releasing it in a gentle, pervasive radiance during the Lyran night. Ethan created a small alcove lined with the softest moss and the warmest stones. It was his first real shelter, a tiny bubble of warmth and light in a silent purple universe. Days 4 to 7, embracing the solitude. By day 4, a profound loneliness set in, heavier than any dust storm. Ethan started addressing his recordings not as a log, but as a conversation with a trusted friend. He talked about his home in Colorado, the smell of pine in the mountains, and the simple joy of a heavy rain shower. "I think the silence out here," he whispered into the recording device on day 5, "isn't an emptiness, it's a fullness. A whole universe humming, but on a frequency our human ears aren't meant to catch. And if I slow down and I listen with my heart, maybe I can feel that hum." Day 6 brought the inevitable, a dust storm. Not a violent, destructive hurricane, but a prolonged, dense blanket of fine red dust that obscured the star and turned the air thick and oppressive. Ethan retreated to his pod, sealing the hatch. The sound of the particles softly shushing against the metal hull became the only sound, a cosmic white noise. Lying there, he focused on his breathing. Slow, deep, even. Inhale, the silence. Exhale, the fear. He found that the rhythmic sound of the dust was incredibly soothing, a natural sound machine provided by the planet itself. When the storm subsided on day 7, the world felt washed clean. The purple sand was darker, wetter. The air was crisp, carrying the strong scent of ozone. Ethan felt a powerful sense of renewal. He spent the day meticulously mapping his resources, sketching routes, and marking thermal deposits. This focused work provided a deep, grounding sense of security. Days 8 to 11, deepening the connection. Day 8 brought the most fascinating discovery. Ethan ventured into a deep, protected gorge, hidden from the strong wind currents. Here, the gorge floor was carpeted with low, bioluminescent creatures that resembled smooth, flat stones, or perhaps breathing jewels. They didn't move, but they pulsed rhythmically, a sequence of soft blues, greens, and yellows, radiating a gentle, consistent warmth. Ethan settled down among them. The air was thick with their energy, and a profound, ambient warmth enveloped him. He managed to ignite a small, contained flame, using materials from his pod and the creature's residual heat. Watching the tiny flame dance, casting flickering shadows on the crystal walls, he felt a warmth that was more than physical. It was the warmth of belonging. Day 10, he lay flat on his back outside the gorge, focusing on the sky. The nebulae, he realized, were not fixed. They drifted according to an enormous, complex dance. He began to see the entire cosmos as a massive, silent symphony, and his small, lonely spot on Lyra was the perfect theater. He felt the sheer beauty of the space, the scale of it all, and in the overwhelming size, he found profound peace. "We come here to conquer or claim," he recorded that night. "But I think we are truly here to be humbled, to sit quietly and realize that the greatest adventure is simply to be, to breathe in and breathe out in a beautiful, terrible, gentle, silent universe." Day 11 was dedicated to a long, slow journey. He found a shimmering, subterranean stream in a valley he called the Ruby Valley. The filtering starlight created tiny, dancing points of red light on the water's surface, like hundreds of rubies scattered across the slow-moving current. He drank deeply, savoring the cool, clean essence. He took the time to splash his face and clean his suit, feeling the physical and mental grime wash away. He felt utterly renewed, both an explorer and a guest. Days 12 to 15, the farewell. Day 12 was his longest walk yet. Ethan climbed the tallest dune, seeking a clear vantage point. He spent hours simply observing the cycles of the wind, the slow march of the shadows, the changing colors of the light. He learned that patience wasn't a technique, it was a surrender to the planet's own timeline. He felt a deep, quiet affection for this world that had tried to kill him, but had, instead, taught him how to truly live. On day 14, he made a quiet promise to the planet. He repacked his pod, leaving nothing behind but an untouched cache of emergency supplies, and his final, deep journal entry, a message for any future explorers about the beauty and stillness of Lyra. Day 15, the final morning. The pale red dawn was breaking over the horizon, painting the sky with streaks of saffron and rose. Ethan stood on the highest dune near his pod, watching the scene he knew by heart. And then he saw it. A faint, brilliant point of light, growing steadily, the signature plasma trail of a long-range United Space Exploration rescue vessel. Joy flooded his chest, pure and overwhelming, but he did not rush. Instead, he closed his eyes, inhaled the unique scent of Lyra metal, ozone, and quiet, and slowly exhaled the entire 15 days of solitude. He let the silent beauty of the planet sink into his bones one last time. When he stepped onto the rescue ship's ramp, the harsh white light of the vessel was a shock after Lyra's soft glow. Turning back for one final look, the distant nebulae seemed to wink farewell. Ethan settled into the rescue cabin's bunk. He was safe, warm, and surrounded by the hum of technology. He knew this story wasn't just about escaping, it was about the journey inward. He closed his eyes, the memory of the soft purple sands and the glowing stones, the last image in his mind. He focused on his own, steady breathing. The immense, gentle universe was rocking him now, carrying him home, wrapped in the quiet strength he had discovered. And as the ship's gentle engines began to purr, the deep lessons of Lyra, the patience, the courage, and the beautiful, profound silence merged into a rhythmic, soft vibration, lulling his weary, grateful mind into a deep, tranquil sleep.